that mask off so that since we're distanced here properly.
Okay. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning,
We just
sir.
want to update our citizens and the community on the Bibb Street Project. It's a project partially funded by the state, which gave us a major grant of $450,000 through the Alabama Department of Economic and Community Affairs, which is ADECA. Also by Utilities Board, which is putting in money for the water pipes, which we'll show and demonstrate later on Bibb Street, and on street paving, which will be done on Bibb Street, the entire length of Bibb Street. Bibb Street Project also does demolitions of 18 properties. Not all had to be on Bibb Street, but within a 2-mile radius. So this is one of the first properties that was done. We are taking down blighted and abandoned properties and making way for new development on those sites.
Mayor, help the people understand why there was so much talk for so long and this thing is now coming to fruition. What goes into the negotiation for projects like this?
Well, there are probably 2 or 3 sides of it. The key side, first of all, is getting the grant application in for a major grant with the government agency, which was the state of Alabama. And these are federal funds that the state of Alabama gives out through ADECA. Then you have the political side. You have to have connections with the governor or her staff or someone at ADECA. We happen to have a good relationship with Governor Ivy's office. We have a good relationship with ADECA Director Boswell, who used to be a mayor. He's a good friend of mine. And you develop those relationships so you can get that money committed to your city. In addition, then we had to work with the city to identify the matching money and with the Utilities Board because they're putting in the water pipes. So it's a partnership effort that goes into it. It takes time to put that together. In addition, we have to have time to get all the approvals because you have to, demolishing houses, you have to get it approved in terms of anything that may have asbestos in it. You have to make sure that the historical properties are not alleviated. They're going to make sure historical properties remain in place. So you have to get everything cleared from a historical standpoint, an environmental standpoint, a safety standpoint, then our local ordinances. So it takes a moment.
Okay, what is this property that we're standing on right now?
Well, this initial property was the old merch store, what we call Merch Superette, that had been here for a number of years and served our community well. Mert Gibbs and that family, a good friend of mine, Mert, did a number of things from that store for years. But over the last 20, 25 years, the building had been abandoned and gone down. Unfortunately, we lost Mert in the community a few years ago, and they had let the property go. So we realized that this property was an eyesore. It's right across from Washington Chapel Church, which is one of our larger, important churches in the community. So we wanted to take the opportunity with this grant to take down blighted property where it could be redeveloped and become an active part of this community. American Deli. Yeah. He wants to go back in that same building. See, at one time American Deli was thinking about leaving. So it might be the ideal thing. If he's interested in coming in, they think about leaving.
The price is right. I should think it. Is that where they're going to stop right there?
Yeah. Yeah. American Deli thinking about leaving. Let's leave. That's what I'm saying. This is the site of the Institute Post Office, a historical building in our community. This was an active area at one time. With retail here, you had a beauty shop here, barber shop, a washateria, you had a sundry up the as the property went down, which was attached to the Institute Post Office. We wanted to take away the blight that existed there. And we saw that building that had fallen in. We talked to the property owner, which was very helpful, and he agreed that we should take it down. We got it put in a grant. We worked with our staff, city manager and our staff, Ortiz, who was working with that project in community development, and got it approved where we could take that blight down and leave a better area for development, for future development, plus protect our historic Institute Post Office. That's been one of the key things here that, you know, at one time they wanted to close this post office, but there was a fight in the community led by several citizens, including New South and our current city council person, Ms. Jackson, to make sure that we kept this post office open. So it is open. We've gotten rid of the blight, and I think we have a bright future here at this site, and hopefully future development.
The grant permit the resources to bring the blighted buildings down. Are there any expenses at all to the owner of the property? And then second question is, who does the property belong to now?
Fortunately, because it's a grant, there were no expenses to the owners. We had to convince several owners of that, and there were some that actually opted out. But the owners get to keep the property. There's no expenses to them. You're talking about anywhere upwards on some of these properties from $10,000 to $15,000 or $20,000 work that was done for them free. And the owners get to keep the property. Hopefully they'll develop it or sell it to someone. They'll be in a position to now sell it and get it developed. And that's what the community is looking at. That's what the city is looking at. Let's take out the blight. Let's get this property developed and back into retail again so that we realize the taxes and the benefit from that grant.
Now you're telling me all these stories about all of these things that existed in Tuskegee that was so great. This community must have been totally self-sustaining at one time, right?
Exactly. The reason this spot is so important is because we had our own post office where everybody came, and a lot of folks had post office boxes. You'll see this old building next to us was a bank. At one time it was City Bank. Across the street used to be a service station. One of the first black car dealerships was right up the hill here. All this was a historic business district. And right down from the university, which was called Tuskegee Institute, Alabama. That's why we have 36088 here at this post office. So it's a very historic place, and as part of the history, we want to retain the whole Greenwood community.
So back in the day, if the people didn't want you all to come downtown, you didn't have to care about that, right?
No, that wasn't a major thing for us. We had just about everything we needed on this side of town. You had Jackson Glaze Grocery up there on Franklin Road, which is open 6 or 7 days a week. He came from Union Springs, but he was a African-American grocer here that had everything you want, all kind of produce. Up the street from there, you'll see another building that was Reed's Haberdashery, provided all the clothes and the cleaners that later transferred and was sold to Loretta to become Loretta's Cleaners, right here in our own community. We had 4 cleaners in the black community, 2 of them next door to each other on Franklin Road, and all of them survived and made a living for their family. We're here at the intersection of Franklin Road, one of our main corridors coming into the city, into the university, and Old Montgomery Road. Right off the corner, the university owns the property next door. So we've taken down an abandoned house that was burned out. So this will become available for development right here from the campus, walking distance for anybody who wants to develop it for students. But we're very fortunate to have this grant to take down this burned out house, which had been here for a number of years and grown up, and you could see the weeds, and in the winter you could see the burned down house. But fortunately, we worked with the property owner. He agreed to allow us to take it down with the grant, and it's been taken down. This is right across from the old Polk studio. It was a flower shop that was there. And then up the street you had other businesses. It Reed's Haberdashery. So this was a business district as well. Carter's Grocery, a very historic, Carter's Grocery, a very historic place right down the street from this. And this whole section here was a business district. So this can either become apartment housing or even be turned into business, but it's right adjacent to the university property here on the corner.
Mayor, when you mention grant, explain to me what you mean.
Well, a grant is resources you apply for from the federal government or state government or other entity that's made available to the city to do projects or make improvements. The reason it's a grant, it doesn't have to be paid back. You have to meet certain guidelines, you have to apply for it. Once you meet those guidelines, you have to use it for what the guidelines say. The uses here are what's called a CDBG grant, Community Development Block Grant, that allows us to improve the community, take down blighted houses, make improvements for economic development, try to improve conditions in your community for the citizens and for the community at large. This is another property on Old Montgomery Road. This had been semi-hidden by the bushes in the spring and the summer, but you could see it in the winter. As you can see, the house had literally fallen in. This was not taken down, this house fell in. And so it's on the list to be cleaned up, and the lot will be cleaned off and made available. The property owners will be able to sell it or to rebuild on it. And it's right down from Franklin Road on Old Montgomery Road. And we're just glad to address this. The contracting company has 120 days to complete this project, and they're moving very rapidly. We're very pleased and fortunate because, see, if they get this done in 120 days, this year we can apply for another grant under CDBG for next year, for more houses, for more streets, for more infrastructure. And that's why it's important to us to get this done as fast as we can. And we're thankful that we have a construction company that's going right to it. And yes, it inconvenienced the citizens in and around Bibb Street for about 4 months, but after that you'll have a fully paved street, new water pipes, new water lines, new fire hydrants, and a lot of the abandoned, blighted buildings are taken down and ready for redevelopment. This is, we're now on Bibb Street itself. This is the upper end of Bibb Street coming off of Old Montgomery Road. You see here a staging area, one of the staging areas for the heavy duty equipment they're using to take down abandoned houses, to lay the pipes, and to prepare the street for paving. This is a major effort here on Bibb Street. We're very pleased that in one of our historic districts, we're going to see revitalization throughout all of Bibb Street. You have Goodwood Mills and Haygood working with us at handling the engineering to make sure it's done right, with the McDonald Construction Company and the city departments coming out to check on it. And so we're just very pleased that progress is being made very timely.
Now, did this have to be put on a bid system, considering it's a grant, Mayor?
Yes, the project had to be bidded out. We had received several bids, and McDonald Construction was won the bid. Goodwood Mills and Haygood out of Montgomery Engineering Company handled that for us.
And they came in and got real busy fast, I see.
They got busy fast. We got it on a 120-day contract, and the engineers out here to make sure it's flowing along with them, communicating. And what they told us that they were going to do so they could finish in 120 days, they worked on different aspects of the project at the same time. So while on the lower end of Bibb Street, as the engineer was explaining to us, they're laying the pipes down there. On this end, they're taking down houses, and at the same time preparing some things in the street. We're here in the middle part of Bibb Street where several houses are being taken down. These are houses that were left abandoned or overgrown, in one case where vines grown over the house, or in another case where fire had burned the house out. And so these houses are being taken down so that they can be made available for redevelopment by the property owners who will retain the property rights themselves. That's the last phase. They get the houses, they put the water pipes in down there, and then you see when they get through the water pipes, and they come back and do the street. Probably in about, we got to be done in 120 days, so probably in the middle of January. Okay.
All right, y'all take it. Y'all
That's right. Thank you. We're here on the middle part of Bibb Street where they're laying water pipes. We had to change out the water pipes because, as you know, this community was built back earlier in the 40s and 50s with smaller water pipes. So we're putting in larger water pipes, which gives better water pressure and safety for new fire hydrants to really improve things in this community, to make it safer fire-wise and to help reduce the insurance costs of the homeowners here. So behind me, they're laying the water pipes here. When they get through with that, then they'll be able to come in and pave. And they're doing a great job because on the other end, they're taking down houses, they're cleaning up areas down there, but on this end, they're laying the water pipes. So they're trying to do this simultaneously to get this done within 120 days. So that when we finish this project, we can go back and apply for a project in this fiscal year. We have to finish by a certain time, and that's what we're trying to work with the engineers and the contractors to do.